Hello, welcome to Podcast First Play, episode 249. I'm one of your hosts, Carl, and as always, I'm joined by a man who asked me what's big and white and will kill you if it falls out of a tree. James Corden. It's only bloody Dan.
Good evening, hello.
Good evening and hello to you as well, sir. We're a day late.
Queen wave. The king wave now, I guess, isn't it?
Has he got a wave?
Yeah, he's like that. Way, fuck the fucking taxpayers, way.
Chucking fucking money. But then people are picking it up.
Yeah, his people. Yeah.
Yeah, we're a day late because I had some home issues last night. My freezer packed
so he's
in.
been beating him again.
Yeah, I've had to use makeup to cover the bruises and stuff. But no, so we're not going to go to all that malarkey because it's boring. What I have got, Dan, is some big, juicy news. It's not really that juicy. It was. I've got some news that everybody knew about for a long time, but now it's actually happened. PlayStation 5 Slim.
I mean, I'm hoping you've got something more impressive and important than.
Yeah, there's stuff coming after that, but
that's fine.
But what I do want to touch on with it is looks the same. But the big thing is there's actually only one of them. So obviously we had the PS5 disc version and we had the PS5.
Oh yeah, there's a digital one and a yeah.
This is just a
I'm assuming
PS5
this is just digital.
Slim. No, it's both. So you buy it and you can buy the optional disc drive which attaches to it.
It's an external
No,
disc drive.
it's not external. It connects.
What?
So you buy it. So you've got the Slim. So you got your two
Yeah.
halves, and then when you buy the disc one, it comes. There's a part of the case that you can like a cover you can take off, and then the disc connects to it.
Right.
In the same way that it connects to the disc one that's already out.
But you've got to pay for that.
Yeah. But I saw a comment, and it said it's quite interesting because it's like $80 or something. This thing is, and it said. For a standalone 4K Blu-ray drive, that's cheaper than an actual 4K Blu-ray player. And the next comment was like, yeah, but it doesn't work with that. If you don't plug it into a PS5,
Yeah,
it
you
doesn't
can't
work.
just buy that on its own.
You fucking idiot. It's like without inflation, it's the same price as the original one was, which is good.
Right.
With inflation, it's like $100 more. But again, taking cost and all that malarkey out. I'm obviously not going to buy one because I don't need one. But I think going forward, this is what consoles are going to do.
Well, they'll just have an add-on.
Yeah, so it'll be like because you got the.
Didn't Sega do that with the 32X, and it absolutely broke the company?
And ironically, was how PlayStation originally was meant to start.
Yeah, they had the Mega Drive, and then like a 32-bit add-on. And then there's a 32-bit CD add-on, but you needed to have the 32 extender, add-on thing, and the disc thing. And then there was like 12 games or something like that came out, and it just broke them.
It was very... I remember it being very sought after, but it was a stopgap before the Saturn, which they'd already started. So it was like, what's the
Well, there was a
fucking
Neptune
point?
before, I think, wasn't there?
No, I think Neptune was the code name for the 32X, I believe.
Oh no! I thought there was a 32. Sorry, there was a Neptune. That was no, it's Atari. I'm thinking of maybe.
I was going to say it definitely went in terms of consoles. Mega Drive, Saturn. Well, technically Mega Drive, then Mega Drive 2, then Saturn, but they were the same console, the 1 and 2.
Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, like an add-on CD thing. It's. I mean, if I wanted to
Nintendo
play
64?
old...
The unreleased 64DD?
That had a CD option?
That's what it was. So it only released in Japan, but it was all the games for it were on discs rather than cards.
Right, okay.
But it didn't sell very well in Japan, so they never released it anywhere else.
Mm. Well, I mean, the only thing that so like my PC obviously doesn't have a CD drive.
Yeah.
But I've still got a lot of old media. So I've got like a bunch of old games, Star Trek games mainly, that I've just kept for 20 fucking years. But I didn't see the need to get a disc drive, and plus, again, like you say, it's now more expensive to have a disc drive option in there. So I was like, if I need one, I'll buy an external one, similar to that, I guess. And it certainly ain't going to be fucking 80 quid. But now most of the ones that I would have gotten it for, they're on fucking GOG or something now anyway. So they're all digital. So I've no need for a CD player whatsoever.
I think it's an actual good idea, not necessarily for PC, but it's the same kind of concept where you buy a PC without a disc drive, and then later down the line you need it for whatever reason, so you can just buy an external one for the cheap.
Yeah, like USB, whatever.
Yeah, but this, like, I have a PS5 digital, and the only reason I bought that was because you couldn't fucking buy one anywhere, and then it finally went. There was some stock, but there wasn't any disc ones, so I bought the digital one. That's literally the only reason. But you've got the Xbox Series X, which has got a disc drive, but then you've got the Series S, which is digital only. Yeah. And I think it would be cheaper for the manufacturers, i.e., Sony or Microsoft, to just build one, and then go. If you just happy with digital, buy this one anyway. If you want the disc one, you just buy the disc drive, because it's the same money that you'd spend on that extra oomph version of it.
But if you took into account, like, if you were buying second-hand games, like your physical media, you get those half price or 25% off, something like that, from a part exchange store or something like that. Then if you were to buy, so if you weren't super keen on getting them day one release, you could potentially get that money back that you've spent on buying an external drive in savings on second-hand discs.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a good idea.
I don't know how much of are there any real discounts on like PlayStation digital games? I mean, all like 50, 60 quid a go?
No, you're looking at like 70 fucking quid on the store. So
that's criminal.
They're normally between $59 and $69.99, depending on the title day one. Same as the Xbox store as well. But you periodically through the year you'll have, it's a Sony sale. You can get Ratchet and Clank for fucking 54 quid. Great.
Yeah, thanks.
Which is no different to the Nintendo store as well. They'll have like these big, massive sales, but it's never Zelda, it's never Mario Kart, it's never fucking, and it's never any of those games. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's that, and I never understood why Steam never did it, but it's because you haven't got a choice. So if you've got a Series S or you've got a PlayStation digital, a PS5 digital, that's the only options. You've got to buy it there. Whereas I suppose Steam, potentially people have got a PlayStation or an Xbox as well as the thing. So just go, I ain't paying fucking 70 quid on Steam. I'll just buy it for 40 quid on the Xbox.
Yeah.
And do it that way, I suppose. That might be why the prices have been able to stay low for this many years. But then again, I don't think I was a very early adopter when Steam first started, so I couldn't say what the prices were back then.
No, I mean, I came into it pretty late as well. It wasn't, as with most people, I imagine, it's not until you spend a bit of money on a decent PC and then you go, what the fuck have I been doing? Like the savings are crazy, like, comparatively, like, in terms of the game. So your cost is going into the machine, but as long as you're a decent, you play a lot of games, you buy a lot of games, you will recover some of the savings.
Yeah, definitely.
Instead of spending 60, 70 quid on Hogwarts when that comes out, well, I got it for 32.
I paid 70 quid.
And that's what I mean. Like, it's a good game, man. It's a real good game. It ain't that fucking
not
good,
70 quid good. I wasn't going to get it. I only bought it because of you.
But I paid 50 quid for Baldur's Gate, I think. But that's because there is no other option. Like, it's not on our affiliates CD keys. It's not on there. It's on Epic, and it was on Steam, and it was the same price on both, I think. And I was like, this is supposed to be really good. I mean, to be fair, I'm already like 113 hours into it.
Yes, you got your money's worth.
Yeah, without a doubt. But it would be a lot to ask for anything else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 50 quid for. I think I played I know. I was going to say the legendary edition of like Mass Effect. There's like all 3 remastered games or upgraded or whatever.
It was on Game Pass, though, wasn't it?
It is now, but that's only because of the EA like partnership thing.
Oh yeah.
But I still bought that. I own that, and I'm pretty sure I paid 40 quid for that. But I was just like, it's 3 games, and it's one of them that I haven't played for 20 years, and all the DLC. So there's hundreds of hours of content just sitting there.
I mean,
so
it's hard
that's
to say
okay.
that, but then it's not okay when Rockstar release their.
Well, because I was fairly confident that this one would work.
I mean, not only that, it was an actual remaster, not just a fucking port with bad weather fucking elements added to it. But no, it's a lot of money to spend, and quite frankly, the reason I don't own many PS5 games, the only ones I have are the ones that obviously at the time you couldn't get. So Miles Morales, Horizon, that sort of thing. And I'll be honest, the game I played the most on PS5 would be Days Gone, which was a PS4 game.
And it's also on PC now anyway.
It is now, yeah. But obviously at the time, I never played it for PS4, and it was part of the PS Plus collection that you got when you got.
Wasn't it like a? It was like a big. Wasn't it? I don't think it was a launch title, but it was like a big like milestone.
It was a
kind
big.
of game,
It was a big deal. But
wasn't it like was it at the end of their life cycle? So it was
the reason it didn't do very well was because it was.
No, I mean, sorry. Like the reason that it looks as good as it does is because it was at the end of the PS4 life cycle. So it was like we know what we're doing with it.
I don't even know if I'd probably say halfway through, because it was not long after
then, if that's the case.
Last of Us, because that's why they were like banded together. So it would have been after the PS4 remaster of the original Last of Us.
Right. Okay.
But it's when they did this PS Plus collection, it was not remastered. It was enhanced the PS5, and then obviously that's the version the PC got when it ported over. But when we played it, me on PS5, you on PC, everything had been fixed. When it launched, there was fucking audio issues, like graphical glitches. Like there was a lot of bad things when it launched, which is why it didn't sell very well or review very well at the time.
Well, Callum, speaking of, do you know what came out yesterday?
No.
Forza Motorsport.
What? Speaking of zombies.
No, just speaking of
games
that aren't
right.
Games that aren't working properly. I quite like the Forza series. I got Forza 7, I think it was. That it was like proper cars. It wasn't Horizon
one.
Yeah. And Motorsport has been sort of like just because again I knew it was going to come out on Game Pass anyway, so I was like, okay, that's 148 fucking gig that's installing that. That's installed pre-installed. Sorry, came out yesterday. I think it was yesterday. It might be the day before. I might not have caught it on day one. But my fucking word, Callum, it is broken.
Really,
really bad. Like the road isn't loading bad.
Fucking hell.
Like when your game is a car game. And I can't see the fucking road because I'm not joking. It's not like it's just gravel. It's like it's just a skybox. Like the whole ground has not rendered in. Jesus. Like the sides don't render in. Like there's bridges. Just people just stood in the air because the bridge that they're stood on hasn't rendered yet. And I was just like, okay, I know that this is a brand new game, but my PC is very good. There is no way that this is my hardware being a problem. I verified. I checked. I was like, okay, well, is there a driver update? Yes, there is, but not that would affect Forza. It wasn't for Forza. It was for the Call of Duty update. I think it was like Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah.
But I verified all the files. Just like maybe there's like a corrupted thing, and I went back onto it. and It's absolutely the same.
Do you think?
And it's been ripped apart on like ratings and stuff like that. Everyone's just sort of like, it's just not working.
Do you reckon to get Starfield out and ready, they moved the people from
everything?
They moved people from Forza to that, but then they moved the people from Bethesda to Forza.
All the people that are causing all their technical issues, they just went, yeah, you can work on Forza for a bit, Mike. Yeah, don't worry about it. But if you were to say at the start of the year, it's like, right, we've got a brand new Forza, it's going to be like, I mean, I've seen the trailers and stuff. Like, it looks, again, but my PC can
do
that now.
Yeah,
it's photorealistic. It's gorgeous. And we've got Starfield. If you'd have said, right, one of these is going to be an absolute broken technical mess at launch, I'd have been like, ding, 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 Bethesda, thank you very much. Like, the fact that works perfectly, and I've seen maybe one thing where I was just like, oh god, that's odd. And that was it.
I've had two
and this
today.
Oh, really?
One, which isn't that bad, but when I came out of my ship, like, when, you know, like, just kind of like goes, leave cockpit or exit to the sea, whatever, depending where you're on the ship.
Yeah.
That it's gone to like the very, very brief load thing, and then it's just come in, and I'm just underneath the ship, but I can only go so many, like, forward, back, left, or right, and then it was just a series of crouch, jump, trying to like move my way out. Eventually did it, went and did what I wanted to do, come back, went to go round to the back, and then it just kind of sucked me in back to where I was. And I was like, I wasn't even under the ship, I was outside. Did it all again. And then after a little bit, I realised, I was like, where the fuck's Vasco? Like, I haven't seen him for fucking 8. I've been to like 4 planets and I haven't seen him. Couldn't find him. Went onto my crew list. He's not there anymore. Went back to the lodge and he's there. Spoke to him and I was just like, I want you to join my crew. And he was like, I'll go to my location or whatever it is. He says, Captain, don't fucking go nowhere. Go back onto the thing, and it's just the same prompts again. I want you to join my crew. And he's like, yeah, I'll go right on it. Well, fucking do it then. Did it about.
You sure you haven't got enough like positions in your ship?
Yeah, I've unassigned everyone, so there's no one on it, and that still did make a difference. And then I went and read it, and I'm not gonna say too much, but have you romanced anyone yet?
I'm kind of getting there with Sarah.
Right, don't finish it. That's what breaks it. No matter who you're romancing, there's an outcome at the end of your romance options. I'm not going to say what.
Okay.
But that's what does it. So people there and they'll be like, the blah 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 blah, Barrett or Sarah or this person or that, and everyone's got the same problem. And the only way to fix it is New Game Plus.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, well there you go. There's a PSA for everyone out there. I will not be doing that because I was getting, like, she seems to be warming up a lot more to me now. So I was going down that route. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I will not do that until it's been officially fixed.
Let's knock it on the head. And it gets to a point during it where you have to finish it. So you can't dismiss it until you've finished. So is that where you are now?
Yeah. Like, because... Yeah, because I'm wandering around on Neon at the not Neon, wherever the Ryujin head offices are. That might be Neon actually.
I think it is.
So I can't get
Yeah,
because I think I was agreeing with some of the things that they were saying, like, oh, you know, they was like, oh, this is how we want to operate, and she was like, Sarah dislikes that, so I was like, right, I'll bin you off for a bit, and then I'll bring Vasco, someone who's just not going to get annoyed with whatever my choices are.
Yeah.
But I can't because I agreed to like go to a planet with her, so she can sort of like get a bit of peace of mind or something.
Mm-hmm.
So is that the last part for her?
Yeah. I'm just going to say a thing. Are you going to speak to... Has a mom been involved yet?
No.
No, you're good for a bit then.
Okay, well, what I might do then is I might just do that mission with her, and then just leave it. Like, just not do any more personal stuff with her just yet. But that's a pain in the arse, though. Like, if that was your whole jam?
The thing is, though, I'd kept her with me, because I got to the point that I was on about. I'm like, I may as well just see this through now, because I can't dismiss her. And then I was just walking back from the shop, like, it's like it's a real thing. But I'd been to the merchants, and I was coming back, and I was just like, I'm going to take fucking... Now I've finished all that, I'm just going to start taking Vasco out again, because I preferred having him, because it was like having a droid. And that's when I realised he wasn't at the bottom of the ship. And I was like, the fuck? And then, like I say, the internet let me know after. So at least you know before I did.
That's very true. I don't suppose there's been any kind of, don't will be fixed in a patch in a week or whatever.
Oh, they did say, because, again, something I didn't know. You know, on... I can remember. Akira? Not Akira.
Al Qaeda.
No, where Sam's from.
Oh, Aquila. Yeah.
Aquila. At the shop, there's a puddle, and you could access the store's inventory, and it's not theft, so you could take everything from the puddle because it was connected to the store. They fixed that
from outside.
Yeah,
unbelievable. I didn't know about that at all.
And every time it's replenished, you just go straight back to it, fucking transfer the lot, you get everything. They fixed that fucking thing, but they haven't fixed this.
Yeah, the game breaking ones, but no, you can't have a bunch of free stuff that you can't do anything with. Absolutely not, no.
So, yeah. So hopefully they will fix it, but...
I love Starfield. It's just so many just sort of like, just stand at a certain angle and you can just steal whatever you want because the game can't figure it out. Oh. But Forza, though, like with it just being a track-based game, I just don't understand why it's so bad. Like, again, if there's pop in and pop out of textures, whatever, yeah, you know, again, it's out day one. That's a little thing. The fact that you can't see like the assist thing on the road because the road has disappeared and all that's behind it is like the white skybox, so you can't see where your track is, so you don't know where turns are. So you just go bonk and just slam into a thing because you can't see where anything is. All you can do is you can get, as long as you can get reasonably kind of close to where there's like a little convoy of cars. Just try and follow the patterns that they're making because they follow the driving lines. But I don't know, I can't gauge speed because the road disappears and it blends in and I can't see what the guide's saying.
That's fucking mental.
It's so... I'm not... It's like...
How have they released it, though? Because obviously, if people are kicking off, it's the same for everyone. So...
Yeah, it's got... Like, when I looked last night, because I was just like, is this just me? Have I got a corrupted file that's absolutely fucked this? But I'm pretty sure, because I played Forza Horizon 5 when that came out day one. Perfect!
Yeah, that worked
absolutely
fine.
Worked fine.
Be interesting if it's the same on Series X.
Well, currently on the game, this is purely just Game Pass for the record. But the reviews, it's actually reduced now, so now it's 1.7. Race started before I even load in. Huge disappointment. Graphics look like overexposed plastic because again, textures aren't showing up. Uninterruptible cutscenes, that I do agree with as well. Didn't work.
No.
Disappointing. Like people are saying, like here's all my this guy, Intel i7 460 Ti 32 DDR4 RAM, can't even hold 30 FPS. Like shit like that.
Yeah, it's because he's got 4060.
But there are sort of like cutscenes like FMV, not FMV, but it's like a CG cutscene.
Yeah.
And it drops my frame rate to about 5 until the race loads in, and then it's silky smooth, but none of the other textures load. It's so broken. It's crazy, man.
Fucking hell! But that's what I mean. Like, there's no way that should have got past the testing stage.
I don't understand because, like, again, if it's my particular setup where it's not optimized for my card or whatever, but it's not as if I'm using some like weird off-brand knockoff thing. It's Nvidia.
Don't fucking matter.
But again, it's if you're using like older obscure
but
parts.
it should still work. It just like you're not going to be doing 240 frames per second and you can't play it in 4K. It should still work.
Yeah, I mean it does. It hasn't booted me. It hasn't crashed. Starfield crashed. Although it hasn't, so again, I'm assuming there's been a couple of patches which whatever was causing mine to crash out, it hasn't done it since. This hasn't crashed, but
it hasn't loaded either. By the way,
it doesn't load properly. Yeah, it's loading to about 20%, and then it just goes, nah, that'll do. Have a crack.
Because like even if you loaded up Red Dead 2 on a PC, and I know you wouldn't be able to install it because drives and stuff, but just say you could. You loaded that on a PC from fucking 98, it would still load. You just wouldn't be able to play it. But you would still go, there's loads of grass and a tree and a horse, and it would just be like 3 frames per second, and you just go, oh, no, I can't fucking Alt F4. But it shouldn't not load everything. Maybe obviously it would reduce the draw distance and this, that, and the other, but it should load the road.
It's a road that you're on.
That's what I mean.
Like it'll be like a whole corner section, and then it'll pop back in again, and then the ray tracing works. and then it looks gorgeous, and then it's all gone again. It's instant. It's like, oh, you get a flash of, this, when this probably works properly, this will look incredible. But before you can even think that thought, it's already gone again.
Do you think it was like this in the testing? And they're like, yeah, but we've already got the date. We've pushed it back a couple of times already. So just release it. Everyone's playing Starfield or Baldur's Gate, so no one's going to notice.
Well, apparently 280 people on Game Pass did.
Thing is, it's a. I mean, I love Horizon, but I'm not big on the motorsport Forzas. But there's a shit ton of people that are, and this is their Baldur's Gate. This is what they've been waiting for.
Yeah, this is the one that they're waiting for. Yeah, they're like big car heads, and like there's a. Again, I played it for about 20 because I just couldn't deal with it. I was just like, I'm so angry with how poor this is at the moment. I don't want to tarnish the whole game. Because I could go back in 6 weeks. Perfect. But I'll be like, well, it didn't fucking work when it should have done. But there's this thing at the start called the Builder's Cup, which is like you as with the previous ones as well, they give you a car or a choice of a car, and then you customize it and mod it and do your bits. So people who are like super into cars, that's the sort of shit they're like, oh man, I can get this this Honda Civic R, and I can tweak it and do all the stuff that I can't maybe afford to do, or I haven't got the skills to do, and I can just make my perfect car. And
they can't.
I'd be so disappointed if that's like if I was playing Starfield, and I've been looking forward to Starfield a lot, and then when you get in your ship, the ship just disappears, or you just drop through the floor, and like planets aren't loading properly and stuff like that, which is like
was a very real possibility.
But again, that wouldn't have surprised me.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have been good, and it's not good to have that expectation. I agree. But I'd have been like, it's a huge game. Like, they're kind of, it's almost like an in-joke at this point. Yeah, like, I almost want it to be like a cheat mode where you can just turn on Bethesda mode, where, like, you just keep falling through floors and companions are just doing circles. Like, shit like that, I thought that would be, it's just part of the course. This honestly surprised me. I haven't seen a game launched this badly before.
Do you think Ubisoft has sat there going, like, we've got this new crew game coming out?
Well, they've just dropped Assassin's Creed. If anything's not going to work, it'll be Mirage.
Yeah.
So I don't even think
about it. I heard about some cats. That's about it.
Cats.
Yeah, there's some cats. You can like if you see a cat, you can interact with it. But some cats have got the Assassin's logo, like in the fur, and if they have, they give you a coin or some treasure or something.
They're cat-assassins.
Cat-assassins. But I haven't heard any headaches from it.
Maybe this is taking precedent.
Potentially.
Because again, if Assassin's Creed didn't work and there's people's faces that are loaded in or whatever, people are like, it's Ubisoft, they're used to it. This, I'm so surprised, genuinely.
Yeah. I didn't know, to be honest. I saw it on Game Pass, but because it's motorsport, I'm just like, and it's like 140 gig, so I'm even more like,
Yeah, it's massive, yeah.
Like, say Horizon, I'm well looking forward for, because I really like Forza Horizon, but I remember I used to play a lot of Gran Turismo back in the day, but it was also that's the game everyone's playing at school.
I also hated Gran Turismo because it was the licensing thing that really wound me up, because it was just like, oh, but you can't get this cool car because you need to get your license. I was like, oh fuck, just give me the car. What are you doing?
But the best thing about that
Forza, with Horizon, you could just win it on a raffle.
Yeah,
you're like, boom, Ferrari. They like the best Ferrari that I have. I got from a wheel spin.
It's not like you got your auctions and stuff as well, so you can.
Oh, I honestly, I haven't done it for a while, granted, but there are times where I will just go on to Forza Horizon 5, and I'll go on just to do some auctioning, not selling my cars. Buying others.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, that Lambo's pretty decent. Only 300,000. Couple of wheel spins. I'll be back there anyway. Bang, put my bids in, put some sick fucking decals and stuff like that people have spent hours and hours making. And like, it looks like this is again, it's aimed at that community to get your kits, get a really good build for your car and then make it available to the public and people download it and you can have your car that's like all that sort of stuff's cool, but. It's just an absolute fucking mess. I'm hoping that there's a lot of people that have been looking forward to this that have bought this that don't have these kinds of issues, but it seems a lot of people are.
I'm glad,
so I don't
that's where
think
you
there's much
went.
way around it.
I was just like, that's a really horrible thing to say. Like, I really hope that people have spent 70 quid on this.
Because it serves you right.
Get Game Pass.
The one game you should have bought yourself. Should have been Baldur's Gate.
The odds are it'll be fixed before the end of the week, but
probably by the time this podcast goes up. But yeah, it absolutely. I couldn't believe how bad it was.
That's mental. Speaking of bad things, though, Dan, I've got more bad news.
Oh, go
on. Daredevil has been pushed back, and it's being restarted from scratch. Daredevil Born Again.
Okay, well then that means no more Punisher, because presumably they're going to bring Punisher back in through Daredevil.
I would assume so.
I mean, to be fair, like it's with what we've got at the moment. We've got like the Marvels, we've got Loki, we've got Secret Wars, so it's all sort of like weird cosmic alternate dimensions and stuff like that. Going back to just he's a dude who just fights people on the street and he's blind, and he's a lawyer. Like that's not like okay, well he's an alien bounty hunting, jazz musician, which is what the rest of them.
I mean, they brought him into She-Hulk, so you got that. Super
True, but he wasn't super Daredevil. He was just normal Daredevil.
He was daytime Daredevil. But the reason, so it all happened during the writing strike. So basically, the head writers Chris Ord and Matt Corman have been sacked because of the creative route that they were taking with the show. Namely, that an insider claims a lot of what the higher-ups were unhappy with was the show was primarily based in the courtroom, and the Devil of Hell's Kitchen didn't don his crime-fighting outfit until nearly halfway through the season.
Yeah, that's what people go and watch Daredevil for.
The exact thing that you've just said about you've got Loki, he's traveling through fucking time, and you got this happening. You've got even Secret Wars have got some shape-shifting stuff. You've got the Marvel. You got this that. You got a guy. This is just a lawyer. Not even he's a crime fighter and a lawyer. He's just a lawyer. It's just Ally McBeal. And from what they're saying, I'm glad that they've gone, no, knock it on the head.
Started over again.
Start again. And I assume they are going to keep some of the scenes, obviously. But
well, I hope that Charlie Cox just keeps his job, though.
It'll definitely stay. He'll stay as Daredevil, but it just means we're not going to get it as soon as we hoped we would.
Potentially then we might get some build up to it if there's a second season of She-Hulk, which I don't even know if that is the case.
I think there will be from how it was received. I didn't.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
I thought it was fine. If anything, it's one that's due a remaster. Just do your CG properly, and then I'll have another watch.
The CG was fine enough for what it was, other than the some of it was quite jarring, but for the most of it, it's fine. But it doesn't help. And it's the same thing with the Falcon, which isn't CGI. But at the start of Falcon and Winter Soldier, Falcon has his suit from the films, which was from a fucking multi-million-pound movie. And then he gets his Captain America suit, which was made with the budget from the show. And it doesn't look as good as his movie suit that he had as Falcon. And obviously the budget for She-Hulk, for her, visually, was done on the budget of the show. But the model they have of Mark Ruffalo's Hulk is the one from the movies. So compared to them, it's not like an exact apples and oranges comparison. It's still miles better than what we could make. But we know Marvel can do better. And that it just makes it a bit jarring. But with the exact opposite of this, I wish She-Hulk could focus more on that courtroom stuff.
Like as a fourth wall breaking, funny kind of sitcom-y kind of character. That worked.
Yeah. But have her represent stupid villains, like proper Z-listers. Have her not necessarily representing them, but maybe representing against them or whatever. But have that courtroom fight rather than your CGI fight.
Yeah, you don't need her turning into She-Hulk every 10 minutes if you can't really nail it. I'd rather a couple of good, she maybe like 2 or 3 episodes she actually fully transforms and goes on a bit of a rampage, I could live with that if the rest of the courtroomy stuff was funny.
Yeah.
But with Daredevil, that just needs to be a dude in a suit. You don't need to spend $100 million on making that look amazing.
Exactly.
He just needs to be able to. They did it with Netflix budget, which is still decent. Don't get me wrong.
It's good,
but it didn't have Disney fucking money behind it.
It's not Disney money, and this was also a long time ago when they didn't have as much money.
I mean, it was probably the best incarnation of any kind of superhero based thing on TV, as a show, should I say, rather than a movie.
Better than some movies, to be honest.
I wouldn't disagree with that. But it's been a while since I've watched it, and I don't know how well it's aged. But I imagine it's still very good.
Might be worthwhile. Maybe we'll go back and have a watch. Daredevil.
Maybe, especially as it's all on frigging Disney Plus now, anyway. But I just introducing that character who is, whilst he's still got these incredible reflexes or whatever, it would make more sense to have your Luke Cage, your Iron Fist, your Jessica Jones. They would be, because they have something to contribute, whereas he's just a really good fighter, which is great. But now we've got Shang-Chi, useless.
I don't know, because who do you reckon would win, Iron Fist or Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi?
Because
Iron Fist, sorry. It depends. Which Iron Fist are we talking about?
No, because all I'm going to say is he battered Iron Fist in the Defenders.
I was going to say, if it's the one from the Netflix show, then no, not a chance. You'd get obliterated. But if we're talking comic book Iron Fist, then yeah, no one should really be able to stand too close to him.
No one. But I'm all for bringing Daredevil, start it. I'm not saying go in the same order, so we won't have. Here's the return of Daredevil. Here's the return of Jessica Jones. Here's Luke Cage. Here's Iron Fist. Here's the Defenders. I'm not saying put in the same order, but I think it makes sense to bring Charlie Cox back first. We've already seen him twice once in Spider-Man and then in She-Hulk, but because he's probably the most beloved one. When all of those, definitely. I really liked Jessica Jones season 1 more, but I think Jessica Jones and Daredevil were the best ones by far in terms of what I expected. Punisher was the good one that I didn't expect to be good, and the
first season certainly, yeah.
I mean, even season 2 was good, but it was mainly because, again, it's something we talked about extensively on the podcast, and we did spoiler cast for it back in the day. But it's when they said they were doing it, it's just great. It's just going to be fucking 13 episodes of Castle going around shooting people. It's not really a TV show, but they didn't. They made him human, and they gave him flaws, and they gave him reasons, and it was compelling. Still think they ruined Big Saw a little bit, but whatever.
I mean, there's been worse interpretations of him in live action, certainly. But there's definitely, he hasn't got, again, all of his villains, they're not sort of wacky costume caped masked up heroes, or it's not a low level C-lister that's dabbled with Iron Man every now and then. They're psychopathic murderers and gangsters and rapists and drug dealers. It's not it's the villain, it's Thanos, it's every bad person that you could really deal with if you had a bad day, and it's him just fuck it, I'm not having any of this anymore. I'm just putting people in the ground.
That's all I mean, though. They didn't.
That's not that impactful anymore when all of these good guys kill everybody anyway. It's just that they don't make them suffer. There's no punishment that's actually delivered. And that it would have to be a shock horror. Oh my God, I can't believe he just did that.
Yeah.
He broke a guy's arm and then stabbed him to death with the bone. Do you know what I mean? It would be... It's someone enacting the revenge of the victims that they've caused, rather than just, you're just a bad guy, so I'll just bang you, shoot you, or I'll drop a rock on you. Done. It's no. You need to suffer. Ghost Rider style. It's inflicting the damage of all your victims upon yourself. It's that level of and I think if you wanted to bring that back, because again, even Daredevil's quite a violent show. There's people getting their heads fucking smashed in by Kingpin and whatever, and he's a very sort of visceral fighter. but then the Punisher came in the second season, and it was like, oh, he's a violent guy. Like, goddamn, like he was like hanging people in freezers and gutting them, like disemboweling them. And I just don't know if Disney would be willing to do something that violent.
To be honest, like Netflix didn't go as far as they probably should have.
I mean, it's not even a scratch on some of the comics. I mean, it's crazy how violent they are.
Like their interpretation of Daredevil was a lot more violent. I mean, the only thing we really had was Ben Affleck's film. That's all we really had prior.
They did Daredevil in like one of the TV shows. Like
he was in the Lou Ferrigno thing, but again, that's not violent in any sense of the word.
He's there by sort of like he just did a couple of like ha hop. Yeah. It was that kind of fighting. Yeah.
But this was a very darker version of Matt Murdock, and it worked tremendously well. But then when the Punisher comes into it, it doesn't turn that dial up to 11. It just goes up a scale, and you go, he's a lot more violent than Daredevil, and Daredevil's pointing out, well, you can't be doing that. Well, that's what you fucking did last season. But like it should have been, and they would have got away with it, but it should have been that whoop, and then every fucking blood and explosions and people's heads falling off, and it should have been really violent.
The only way that I reckon that they could justify it at this point is that they'd be looking at The Boys and just going, oh man, that's a really fucking popular show, and that is as violent as it gets.
Yeah.
Like, people's dicks exploding and God knows what else. Like, that is like, that's almost like gore horror, kind of like, oh God, like, absolute awful stuff happening. So, if we were to have one guy that was like a horror sort of thing, so like the Wolf Among Us sort of, whatever that short was called, what was it?
Fucking hell. Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, that was great, and that's probably one of the sort of scarier horror-based, sort of like violent things that they've done, and that was brilliant. And they just haven't really done anything like that since.
But the thing with that though, it makes you feel like. Do you remember the Munsters?
Yeah,
like I know that was a comedy thing, but the way that it's filmed, it makes it feel like that kind of show where it's a bit spooky, but it's a bit weird at the same time. And I know the Munsters wasn't either of those things, but just aesthetically, I mean, and just like the greater camera and stuff. But that's by far the goriest thing Disney's done, by far.
I mean, and that's
in terms of Marvel stuff, obviously.
Yeah, like Man-Thing, I guess. It's just sort of like melting people, and like there's a few, like when Jack turns into a werewolf, he's like sort of like ripping a few people apart. But it's not anything like every time I've just started watching Gen V. I know you've done that as well. The spin-off on of The Boys, which is it's better than I thought it was going to be. Frankly, I thought it'd be a bit of a cash-in, but it's actually really quite good. I'm genuinely annoyed that I watched the 4 that I did because I didn't realise that there was
more.
It was like a weekly thing, and I was really annoyed because I had a proper binge, and then it was just done. I was like, well, that was a bullshit ending, and then it was like, oh fuck, there's another one next week. God damn it. But it felt like a good continuation of that kind of like the tone from The Boys.
That world.
And I just don't think anything in the Marvel universe has kind of come close to that outside of Werewolf in London. Werewolf in Paris.
Especially not
Werewolf by Night.
Especially not either of those films.
No.
They just don't seem to work in that Marvel universe.
No. But like that would be the thing that would be, okay, well, if you this is for the adults. Like, you can have your Daredevils where he can batter you, but he's got a line, he's Batman in it, so he's got this rule that he's not going to break. And then total end of the scale, we're like, no, this guy's sick of everything, and he will make you bleed and hurt and cry and shit yourself before he then pulls your spine out or something like that.
The thing is that you've still got to interconnect it with the rest of the Marvel.
But I would rather that they interconnect him with, if they had like a black and white series. So they had Werewolf by Night, and they had Man-Thing and Jack. Was it Jack London? Is it
Jack London? Yeah, I'm sure that's his name.
Yeah, but Ghost Rider and
Blade.
Yeah, exactly. Like have like, okay, well, you've got all your Iron Mans and your action figure heroes. People that you can dress up as, and then these ones where it's just sort of like, well, no, they're you don't want to deal with them.
Yeah.
Like, you want the Avengers to come knocking on your door. You don't want Ghost Rider and Blade and like these people that are going to rip you apart. Like those, that's like your backup. That's your Suicide Squad. Kind of like, if they get involved, everyone's dying. Like, no one can deal with these guys.
The problem with that is a certain movie that's coming out, the Thunderbolts.
Yeah,
because
but
a lot of the characters that we're going to have in this R-rated MCU is going to be connected to the Thunderbolts.
But again, that's fine. Like, you can have the kind of like the build of the jumping off platform where it's kind of like it's a bit dangerous and people can kind of gauge as to if they're into that. But then I'd say just swing it the other way. You have like this absolutely boys level, like maybe not like tits and dicks exploding and stuff like that, because I feel that even for Disney, that if they're pushing their boundaries, I don't think they get that far.
It's all you've got to be able to do is just go. There's a guy talking and he's just like blah 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 blah. And then his head just fucking explodes, and then the camera focuses and the Punisher's a bit further back, and he's just fucking annihilated him. Like, it hasn't got to be bollocks and stuff. Like, it's not Scarlet Witch just making someone's fucking knob big until it explodes.
Yeah, that's true.
But they can make it gory. I suppose I don't know what that line is with what Saw described as.
Saw the films.
Yeah, there's some. It's something porn, like gore porn or something. I honestly can't think of what the word is, but it's got a specific title, and you don't want to go down that route because then
it's violence for the sake of violence.
Yeah, it's got to be like. I know we're on we've just literally mentioned penises exploding like 3 times, but
there was a reason that dick exploded.
It fit within the confines of that story. And
100%.
Obviously that wouldn't in the Punisher, unless he's dragged someone out of the car and then he gets an air compressor and he puts it in the Jap's eye.
Mate, yeah,
and turns it on. You could.
He catches a rapist and then he
cut your knob off.
Bollocks off or whatever. Yeah. Actually, I was just going to say he shoots his dick off, which has just reminded me that there was a demo for RoboCop Rogue City that came out the other day, because RoboCop's famous for
shooting of
dick.
gratuitous violence.
One of the best films ever made, RoboCop.
But you could do something like that, like where he's got to give him his information. He's put this air compressor just down his fucking bell end, and he just turns it on, and he's just like, well, you haven't got long. So
you've got 30 seconds.
Tell me what I need to fucking know.
And then he'll just crank it up anyway as soon as he's got what he needs, because fuck him, he's a rapist.
But you don't need to see it. Like, or you see
I disagree. I disagree. Like, if you do something like that, otherwise you get that first Tom Jane Punisher movie where, like, he's got a guy that's, like, killed his neighbour or, like, beaten his neighbour up and tortured him or whatever, and he's got his guy, like, hanging up from his feet. And he's got a blowtorch, and he blowtorches a piece of meat to like get the smell and like the sizzle, and just touches the guy in the back with an ice cream, because like such heat feels like cold because it's killing all the nerves off. That's not the point. If you got a blowtorch and a guy hanging up, he's going to blowtorch the fuck out. Are you kidding me? Of course he is.
At the very least, he'd have put the hot meat on it.
Or eating it in front of him, maybe. And you're going to go hungry.
Imagine that. He's just like, I don't know, he's tied his shoes, so he's hanging on the band. He's just over his ice cream. but
I can't see a jump where there's a Disney Marvel film which is like
The Boys.
Yeah, it's just that seems a bit too much.
But that's what I mean. That's why, like, you'd have, again, we'll stick with the air compressor. When it's happening and it is going to explode, Punisher's walking off, and all you could see his legs from like the back, and then you hear like a pfft, and then there's just fucking blood that flies up. Like, you wouldn't need to see the actual penis exploding.
I would disagree, only for the fact that I've seen The Boys do it now, and that is that to me is just sort of like fair play.
But,
like you haven't alluded to anything, you've shown it.
They have.
And that, to me, that's saying that they know their audience, and at this point, their audience knows them. Like, no one is just going to just tune into Gen V and go, "Oh my god, I can't believe they just did that." They'll be like, "Oh, got him, wanker."
But it's also it's powered people. Not like it's not humans that are having like the dicks and tits and asses and stuff.
Yeah, but that's not a guy with this famously regenerative dick. It's
no. But I think it's that same thing where like TV cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons, you wasn't allowed to shoot people, and you couldn't shoot at people, but you could shoot lasers, which is why that's why predominantly people had laser guns, even though it wasn't like futuristic. Like even in Batman the animated series, they wasn't allowed to use bullets; they had to use like laser style guns, and it was only, I think that may have been edited so many years later, but at the time it wasn't allowed. X-Men, Spider-Man, all these Saturday morning cartoons, you wasn't allowed bullets, and I think it's the same kind of thing here, where they can get away with it because it's not a human.
Nah.
It might not be. I think, that might not be right at all.
I think if it was an alien, like a big alien monster that was completely unhumanoid, that had a big massive wang in it,
you just tell him one penis,
and then he went, but it's fine. We'll blow it off, but it's alright because it's a massive alien dick that doesn't really look like a human dick, so it's fine. This is just a dude, like he's just psychic. He doesn't have he's not the guy with the mad dick powers that strangles everyone with his dick. This is just a guy with a normal dick with a psychic brain. And she blows his dick off.
Saying that, Hugh's girlfriend dies immediately. So that's theory out the window.
But she just gets exploded.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's that theory out the window.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Plus, but Homelander's just famously, he'll just blow up a plane full of people because fuck them.
Well, you don't see it though, do you?
No.
You don't see them die.
Well, you see like like when he's lasering people in half, like when he goes to the Middle East or whatever, he's like carving up people in the middle of the fucking street. They're definitely dead.
But they're also terrorists.
Yeah, not all of them. There's like just women that were just running around. They all get fucking cut off.
That's true. Yeah.
Also, there's a whole PR thing where he like shoots through a guy that goes through a blanket and then kills a kid behind him. So no, they definitely killed their fair share of people.
Well, that's why I like Gen Z though, because this is
Z.
I keep saying Gen fucking Z. It's a completely different show about zombies. But Gen V is like this arc in the boys comic is vastly fucking different. Vastly different. It's not a fucking like college university place at all. And as far as I'm aware, a lot of the characters aren't part of the main ensemble. But the show's miles better. Miles better.
Right. Okay.
It was one of the worst parts of the comic. And it's not shit, but it was the one bit where I'm just like. Flick through, but it does make me. Oh, someone who was in it. Spoilers for Gen V, by the way. But I didn't expect Tech Knight to show up.
Now that's a name I definitely remember. Like I've heard him mentioned to some degree, but I couldn't tell you. And then because I was just sort of like, I know this name, and is he like a Batman kind of dude? Or
yeah.
But then as soon as he was like hyper aware of like people's like. So I was like, oh, okay, he's got a power, but it's just not it's not flying. But he's monopolized it really well, which is why I really like that this school, it's this superpower school, but a huge part of the curriculum is like branding and media awareness and stuff like that, like how to play the media and how to sell yourself and scripted interviews and stuff like that, and like practice that it's so gross, but that's exactly the point. It's just like everyone knows at this point that these kids have been turned into these superhumans on purpose. So the best thing we can do now is just package them up in the right little box and sell them to a city to say, here's your defender. And they've got 100 million likes on Instagram or whatever. So, it's so gross.
But I don't, and again, it's been many, many years since I've read The Boys, but I'm pretty sure he hasn't got any powers. Tech Knight he was Batman. He was Batman. He was Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark molded into one. And his suit was like a suit of armor,
right.
But as it does touch upon in this episode, he has to have sex with things, and he's got the tumor is what makes him have those desires, because it could be with a woman. His Robins all leave, every single one, because they'll just be like tying the shoe, and he'll just look over and be like, oh no. And that's why a lot of them went. And I can say it because it's obviously they're not going down this route in the thing, but one of the last times you see him in the well, it is. I think it is. Could be off the top of my head, but there's an asteroid heading for Earth, and he heroically flies up, and he's got his iron suit, and he's like holding it back, and everyone's like, "What?" But if you look through the telescope, he's having sex with the asteroid. That's the only reason he went up there. And there was when the boys first started on Prime, I remember saying to Zoe, like, there's a character in the thing called Tech Knight, and I don't think they'll ever put him in because I don't know how they would. And they managed to do it, but they've done it as like a who was that? Was it Mind? Mind? That TV show? And yeah. And it was kind of like CSI. But like, is it Mindhunter? Is that right?
Oh no, Mindhunter. That's a Netflix show. But that's like I think it's kind of like it's based on a true story ish, like how they developed profiling and stuff like that, like interviewing serial killers.
Oh,
I think I know the one you mean though. It's called The Mentalist or something like that.
That could be that, yeah. And
I think it's Tim Roth, and he's like
yeah,
he's like Darren Brown, but like put to work for the police sort of thing. He's like a Sherlock Holmes, can pick up a million clues from a person to deduce what they've been doing.
That's the feel that I got for what they were doing for this.
I agree. Yeah. I think it was like but it seems like it is an actual power rather than just his ability to deduct.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like you could just pick up on these like micro expressions that people have.
It's just that even down to the like when he just went and I like just kind of like smacked his lips a little bit, and then he deduced that he was sleeping with what's the face, and it's just like you'd never ever be able to.
But don't forget as well, he attended that school.
Yeah.
So why would he be attending the school if he was just a normal dude?
This is what I mean. Like, and again, I haven't read The Boys for years, so he may have powers, and I just generally don't remember. But as far as I can remember, he's just a really fucking rich guy, builds a fucking suit, fights crime, and that's
maybe they've done that to be like, well, we don't want to just have like an Iron Man, because everyone will be like, well, he's not as good as Iron Man, is he? Or he's not as good as Batman. So they've gone, he's sort of a detective, so just give him like super detecting powers.
Yeah.
And instead of him having like the ability to fight crime or, fly or jump on buildings or whatever. Yeah, he can, so instead it's going down that branding route. So it's like, okay, well, you can't beat people up in the streets, but you could detect your way around a crime scene. But it's not like he's a consultant, like a Sherlock Holmes, like consultant for the police. He's got a show.
Yeah.
So his show is going around and exposing people with like gotcha journalism, but it's like he's doing it live on air, and it's sort of like, okay, well, I can tell that you're lying because you've just done this and this and this and this has moved. And then as soon as they're exposed, they're like, shit, now we can see I'm like it completely freaks him out, and that's how he gets. But he's not solving crimes; he's just getting ratings.
Yeah.
So because he presumably like couldn't go down like the actual crime fighting route, he's going down that media route instead, which is kind of brilliant.
Written. Yeah, very well written, very clever.
Because it would be easier to just go, he's a guy with a suit and he can fly and do he can do Homelander stuff, but it's because he built it, not because he's. So they've just gone, I fuck that.
I am surprised they haven't gone down that route at all, where you have got your average Joe who's got your Elon Musk, and you've got all these superheroes flying around, and then someone's gone, we need someone to protect us from the superheroes, and then a la Machine Man. I don't know. But could be something that they go to. I suppose that's kind of what the boys are.
But that is, I mean, they're like an anti-superhero team, but they also haven't been given that job. No one's paying them to do that. They just decided upon themselves because they're sick of it. But again, not when the boy started though. Like she had him as like a CIA hitman, sort of like wet work kid kind of guy. He started the boys after the fact because of the shit with Homelander. So they're not like a government-backed thing until like I think it's in like season 3 or 4 or whatever, when it's sort of like they become official. Or Huey's hired by like the Department of Superhuman Relations or whatever the fuck it is. But even that's still a front. Like it's all
because of her.
Yeah, but like it's Compound V is probably the closest thing, like where they can just take a hit and then you temporarily get a power.
Well, that's what it is in like in the comics. It's immediately like the all taking V, because that's how they fight them, and that's what I like about the show, where they shown to have got smarts and they can use strategies and make plans because they can't rely on.
Or they just call Starfire into not Starfire.
Starfire.
Starlight.
No, Starlight. Yeah.
Starfire's from Teen Titans.
Yeah, they bring her as well sometimes.
But it's like, when like Stormfront, like Stormfront is like an actual like a genuine threat, and all of them are useless.
Yeah.
So they just let Maeve and Starlight and Kamiko just beat the living shit out of this woman. Like, they've got all these weapons and stuff like that, and they're just destroyed immediately. And then they just have to stand back and just go, I mean, we can't really do anything here, so have at them, girls, go on.
That's what it comes down to, isn't it? And then obviously later on in the next season, when Butcher's taking Compound V, and I think it's the weakest part of it, to be honest. It's awesome to see Butcher and Homelander going at it, but
that should be like a one or two.
Yeah.
You do that and then that's it, sort of thing. But again, I'm pretty sure I said at the time, that's what they've written in. They go, you do it too many times and it'll kill you.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Yeah, so if they just say, you just use it sparingly, and once a season maybe you'll get to see him bat somebody or bat a Homelander or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I much prefer it when they're like outsmarting him, or like with translucent they just blow him up. Like, they've got to outthink the problem and distract them and do all kinds of stuff. And
it's compelling.
Take advantage of their own egos. Like, all of that stuff is great. I think it would be. I don't think it would be as successful as it is, or as well regarded as it is, maybe, if it had just been like, oh, I'm Butcher. Here, take this stuff, and you can get superpowers as well. Because then every season would just be the same, with battering all of them every time.
And that's why it's a lot. No, I don't think it's better, but it's a good change. And in the comics, there's no negatives to taking it, other than the fact it's really hard to get hold of, so they haven't got an endless amount of it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that that's something that they changed for the show. And again, even with I forgot the guy's name, but the quick shot guy.
Oh.
And they're in the car park.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like something bullet or bullet.
Yeah,
bullet
we'll call him Bullet Bender. But like even something like that, he still has to outthink him, because even if he hasn't got any other powers, he can still kill him.
Yeah, easily.
So, and it's just such a good show. And I've started watching a lot more things on Prime recently, and I'll say, whilst they haven't got the quantity that the likes of Netflix and even Disney Plus are offering, the quality of the ones they do have are so fucking good on Prime. Really, really, really good. I fucking love The Boys and Gen V and Clarkson's Farm. Vastly different shows.
Same thing. Old racist farmer man used to drive cars. Yeah,
and Clarkson's Farm. I'm pretty sure he was one of the characters in The Boys.
Clarkson, you couldn't write a character like him. Are you kidding?
To be honest, he's a very different Clarkson in Clarkson's Farm. I give him that.
What do you mean?
He's
not a 12-year-old.
Yeah, I know he still is, but he's nice, and you can tell that this, like, he loves cars, and the comedy bits of Top Gear and the Grand Tour are what they kind of like moved towards the
I mean, it stopped.
It was less
being
about
a car show.
Yeah,
it wasn't like, oh, here's an affordable car. It's just like, here's a £250,000 Mercedes that we're going to drive to France.
Exactly.
What can I get from that? It's not informative anymore. Now it's just entertainment.
Yeah, it's just funny, and I'm fine with it.
Which I totally agree with. Like, I watched, I was trying to find the Vietnam special that they did, but I ended up watching like the Bolivia one. They go to, I think there's one that they do in Africa. There's a bunch anyway, and I ended up watching like a bunch of these specials because they're like an hour and a half, whatever. But it does, you can tell that there's like, there's so much of this that just does feel scripted, but 70-80% of it works. Like, it's still, they put him on a crane and they held him over a river. Well, yeah, of course he'd wake up if they actually did that, but it's still funny, and like funny. They're still acting fairly reasonably. Like, it's almost like they came up with it on the spot.
Yeah.
I would like to see like a no holes barred kind of like interview with like Clarkson and Hammond or whatever, and just say like, we've got some great clips of like some of the specials you've done, some like the Grand Tour stuff that you've done, but we want you to specify. Well, that was scripted. That was written. That was a legit reaction. That we did put meat in his car and he was chased by a badger or whatever. Like, I'd really like to know because again, if it's all scripted, then fine. Because again, most of it's entertaining. It's quite funny. But if it turns out that all of it's like no, we know where we're going, but like all the work that we've got to do in the cars, that's all real. Like anything that where we fought with each other, we've broken each other's windscreens or whatever, that's all real. I'd love to know that because
I'd imagine a lot of the fuck ups are real. So like when they're building the amphibian cars, like I imagine they didn't know if they were going to work or not when they were putting them together and that kind of thing. But it's the other stuff. So like when they spray painted like I'm gay or whatever it was around on his car when they're in America and stuff. That was probably
South
real.
America. Yeah, because there was a lot of this sort of like, I'm genuinely scared that we're going to get shit kicked out of us, like, or shot as you're in America,
And like, but there's a lot of scripted stuff in it. But for the most part, it works and it is funny and it's entertaining and it's a good show. With Clarkson's farm, you can tell he's very, I wouldn't say passionate, but he's very into the. Did you know the gist of it? Like.
I honestly no.
This isn't a spoiler for the show.
Is it like an experiment kind of
thing? No.
It's
his farm. So he's owned this farm for years and years. But this guy's run it for him, and then 2019 or something, he's gone to Clark. He's just like, I'm retiring, and then instead of getting someone in, Clark's has gone, I'll do it myself. Like, how hard could it be? But
running a farm very hard.
I don't think that was his actual. What I'm thinking, I'm assuming his thought is, I'll do it myself. That's a TV show. I assume that's what he's done.
If it all goes tits up, then I'll hire someone anyway. Yeah.
But you can tell he is very. He wants the farm to succeed. He wants to help the community, and like he's nice to animals. He's nice to people. He's not Jeremy Clarkson Top Gear driver, man. He's Jeremy Clarkson just trying to run a farm. And it's genuinely very good. I massively recommend it. But there is a funny bit. It's not a spoiler, but it started raining and he's complaining because obviously he can't do certain stuff in the rain because of crops and that. And then the guy's
can't
like,
sunbathe.
Yeah, and he's just like, I mean, this is global warming. This is your fault. You've been driving around in these fucking cars for like the last 30 years.
I remember there was a specific thing in Top Gear when they'd said, like the BBC, they basically had a go and said that we're doing too much like abroad and carbon emissions and blah 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 blah. So we've got a reasonable car, like reasonable car. It's not some supercar or it's not worth £1 million whatever. It's a reasonably priced car. So we'll do a reasonably priced car review. And then it was like in London, like, and the doors open and they open great in London. And then it cuts to them in Australia with the same car, just saying, and the sun visors, they work absolutely fine. And then it's in Holland. And then it's like, and the glove box works fine in Holland. So, no, you haven't got a leg to stand on, mate. You've purposefully, again, I'm assuming that they were doing other things and it was a funny bit to take with them. But you've been a big a big supporter of like, fuck it, diesel for everyone, Subarus and Lamborghinis for everyone, please. Get rid of the speed limits, autobahns across the country. And then you whinge that it's raining too much. It's your fault, Clarkson. More than mine it is, certainly.
There's a bit in it where he's actually going through the village, he's in his tractor, and there's cars behind him, and he's just like, this is a bit of a turnaround.
It's like, I get it. It is. I get why this has to happen. I need the tractor and I have to take it on the road.
There's a lot to it that's very. Some of it again could be a little bit scripted, but like he goes to buy a tractor, and again it's on the. If you look at the preview thing on Prime, but when he goes to buy a tractor, he's like, "So what's the horsepower of this one?" And the guy's just like, 23. And he's like, what's the most you've got? And they're like, 60. He's like, And then it cuts to him like test driving one, And he's like, after test driving the whatever it's called, I decided I wasn't going to get that. I was going to get this. And then it cuts to him and he's in like it's a Lamborghini tractor. But everyone's there is just like, that's too big. Like, it's too big. And he's like, it's too big. And then
it's a tractor. It's meant to be big.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking huge.
Yeah.
But something goes wrong, and he's trying to hitch something, and he's looking at stuff, and it's all in German because he got it from Germany, and it's shipped over. It's really funny. It's very good, honestly. You'll like it.
I might have to. Yeah, I actually might have to have a little look at this.
You'll go from that to again a not Jeremy Clarkson thing where he's looking at it and going, "But we could sell these to vegans." Like, we could have vegan things. And it's just like, you've never cared about vegans before.
That's the thing. But again, that's why like a no sort of like a no act. Because like how much of the Clarksons sort of like, just drive fast and eat meat and smoke cigars and 50 a day and you'll be absolutely fine. And that's the way a man lives. And it's like, how much of that is just a character and how much of it is just...
I think a lot. I think this is Clarkson in the farm. And then what we've seen in Top Gear and the Grand Tour and stuff is, this is Clarkson! Like it's
vegans, boo!
Yeah,
eat a steak like a normal person.
Yeah, it's a character or it's what's his name from Celebrity Juice. So Lee Francis is the real person, but Keith Lemon is the facade. Character. Yeah, and I think that's what Jeremy Clarkson is. I think he is. People like this bumbling buffoon that's a bit of a loudmouth and he hasn't got a filter, and then. Yeah. This is where he lives. This is his. Now it's his livelihood. No, not livelihood, but
I think the show is his livelihood. Yeah. He's not making a fortune growing beetroot or whatever.
A lot of money in stuff though. Like some of the stuff like wasabi plants. You can get fucking loads of money for growing wasabi plants. Like he planted like 12. And
God, listen to you.
I know.
Shut up.
But you could make more money off the 12 wasabi plants that he planted than an entire field of corn.
But wouldn't it be more? Isn't it more difficult to grow? Or
you've got to have certain conditions.
That's what I mean.
Is well, it's all about the water more than anything else. So it's got to be water at a certain temperature and not chucking water on. It's got to come from like a stream, and it has to be at a certain.
Yeah, the same way that you grow weed
stuff. Basically, I guess. I don't know. I've never grown weed. I wouldn't know. Dan,
I'm sure he'd probably. I bet if he looked into that and he went, "Wait, I can get 10 times the amount for the same amount of. I can get rid of all this cabbage that I'm not using and have a field of weed and retire in 2 years.
And my back will be better.
Yeah, and I'll sleep brilliantly."
Well, no, honestly, it's really, really good. There's only 2 seasons, and it's like I think it's 8 episodes for both. There's 16, so
nothing, not a difficult catch up.
I enjoyed it, and it's an eye-opening thing as to what goes on in that farming world. Like, it's a hard job anyway because it's like manual labor.
Yeah, I've played Stardew Valley. I know it's hard,
but it's way harder than we think it is. Way harder.
I would imagine that it's like it is relentless work.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like there's, I just can't imagine that. Like, no, I mean, not just. I don't mean just working for a farm. I mean owning a farm that you work on. Yeah. I just don't think there'd be such a thing as a day off. Like a day off means that things die. Yeah. Like there's jobs that have to be done every day. Otherwise, you fucked yourself over.
Well, stuff will happen. Like you have your crops and everything else, but you'll also have if you have sheep, you can only start lambing if the ewes meet the right requirements. So if they are not getting enough food, if you haven't got enough grass in your field, they can't feed properly while they're like pregnant and stuff like that. The ones that can't produce kids, you're gonna have to fucking get rid of them because they're no good. Same with cows. I know it sounds really stupid. I didn't know there was different types of cows, Dan.
Of course, there's different. You think there was just the species of cow, and that's that one cow that's everywhere.
You got a cow and you got a bull, but no. But I mean, like obviously you got like dairy cows, and then you got like you've got
it's the same as apples, mate.
No. But I mean, you've got different. I know there's different types of cows, but I didn't know you couldn't get milk from. You could only get milk from a dairy cow. other cows don't produce milk, so you can't.
So
get
the brown ones they give chocolate milk, and the white ones they give white milk.
Yeah,
that's why there's so many.
That's how it is. The pink ones give strawberry milk.
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah. So it's only dairy cows that you can get. So if you have a dairy cow, you can get your cheese, you can get your milk, and you can.
But that doesn't make any sense because all cows are still mammals. They still need to have udders to feed their young.
Different type. I think you can still get milk from them, but I don't think it's the same kind of milk.
Oh, so there's like a fit for human consumption standard.
Essentially, yeah. I don't know that much about it. I'll be honest, but. I mean, the
way you're banging on about it, like you're fucking running this place with Clarkson as well.
I mean, funnily enough,
with your cow knowledge,
because I live in a farming community.
Yes, you do.
You would assume that I know a lot of things. My son's friend's dad is a farmer. He doesn't live next door to me anymore, but the person who used to live next door to me was a farmer. I know fuck all about farming.
I think you should be getting more involved with the community, mate. That's what I think you need to be doing. Have a little go on the tractors and the combines.
I'll do that bit. It's the rest of
it. Yeah, but it's probably that's the thing that you could do that would ruin everything the quickest as well. All you need is just like one full start and you blow the motor and the tractor is like, well, that's 60 grand that I've got to spend to get that fixed again.
And the rest.
Yeah.
The hundreds of thousands of pounds, some of them are.
Like new farming equipment. I can't remember why. I remember quite a few months ago, probably start-ish of the year. I don't know why. I think someone was talking about horse. So we're looking at how much it was to buy a horse. Yeah. Thousands, right? That's not even including the upkeep, which is again thousands.
Yeah.
Just to buy it is like 8 grand or something stupid, right? But I ended up looking at I think it might have been there's a bit in the office, the American office, where someone's trying to trick Dwight into like going halves on a tractor, and then like ending up using it more. And I was like, I must have just been like, oh, I wonder how much an actual tractor is when I was looking at all these horse things. And it was like 290 grand. I was like, for one vehicle. Yeah. Like, no wonder whenever you see farm vehicles, they look like they're from 40 years ago. Yeah. Because they probably are, because that's how it's affordable. And
that was still 70 grand.
Exactly, but they're also made to last as well. Yeah. Like, it's a tractor that's going to do brute force work every day until it falls apart.
A lot of them are like repaired on, so like you do in your fields, whatever.
I'm going to have a look right now, Cal, on this podcast live. Let's see actually how much it costs. What do you want to buy? I
want to buy a Lamborghini.
No, because we know that's you're just paying for the name then. That's all.
Well, we'll say why are you looking for that? Just look for any kind of tractor.
New tractors.
A new tractor. In the
John Deere. I'd recognise that name.
Yeah. Do you know how much a trained sheepdog is to buy?
Trained?
Yeah.
As in it's ready to go?
It's ready to do your flocks.
I don't know how much a normal sheepdog is, to be fair.
Well, one of these is £20,000, Dan. And you can't use it for 2 years. You have to you can't go anywhere near the sheep, and you've got to let it bond with you over 2 years, and then you can use it as a sheepdog.
I'm sorry, mate. It's quicker and cheaper to get a drone.
I'm not gonna say anything else, Dan.
Oh, okay. Someone already explored that. So we've got a few different series of John Deere tractors here, but their horsepowers they do range though. So they're going from this one's 90 to 195. That one's 75 to 120. But then the top end ones are that's 691 horsepower. But that's got those like triangle tracks that war vehicles have got. It's got 2 sets of those.
Well, we want a middle ground because we don't want to, again, we need to think about fuel as well, Dan.
Okay, well that tractor's got 8 tyres on it. So that one I feel like is a bit too big.
Yeah, we need 4 tyres, Dan. 4 wheels rather, not.
That's dinky, but 5 series tractors for high value crops. Sure, that sounds about right. That looks like a standard kind of tractor.
Yeah, a standard Deere.
Standard Deere. Choose your model. 5ML, 5G5.
5G5. I recognise them digits and letters.
Let's just do that one randomly. So it's a 5090 GV tractor, 91 horsepower. Build your own. What?
No.
You can get them in a kit. Tailored to your needs. Blah 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 blah. Specs. Right, it says build your own UK. So does that mean you can like build your own, like have your own add-ons?
Yeah, you'll add it. It won't get sent to you in parts.
No, I know. Like his own John Deere tractors.
Yeah, it'll be the same. It'll be the same as when you buy a car. So you can have like sat nav. You can have sat navs and stuff added to it, or depending on the type of tug you have on the back. You'll need a weight on the front of it to counter the stuff at the back.
No additions. £80,000.
Well, I mean, that's cheaper than I thought it was going to be.
But that's. I mean, again, that's a very low level kind of.
It's got a seat.
Yeah, I mean, it's got four wheels.
That's all right. That's all we need.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different options, like what types of tires you want and that kind of stuff. So, oh man, how
much can it?
This is just for the tires. £3,000. I mean, some of them at 3.5, some of them are about £2,000.
Is that for the two back or the two front? Obviously, the ones at the back are bigger than the ones at the front.
I don't know. Axle toe pins.
Bear in mind, my old car, the tyres on that were 250 quid. And they were only 18s. So if that's £3,000 for the two big wheels at the back, that's not.
That's rear wheels.
Yeah. So that's not as it's still a lot of money. But if I've got £80,000 to piss about with, I've got £3,000 to buy some new wheels.
True that. So just with the tyres that's an extra £5,000 that's just gone on. But again, that's low end. So let's have a look at your big boys. So that might be the 9 Series. I'm only saying that because they're the heavy duty. Like that's your 600 horsepower.
They also do different things. So we could be spending more money, and this doesn't actually do the thing that we do.
Enormous thing behind it as well.
That's the other thing. You need to look at what it can pull.
Your mum.
Oh. And we need to buy a weight.
It's set a new 24 hours tilling record.
Oh yeah. How long was that for?
24 hours, you idiot.
I'm joking.
Let's have a look at this one. The 9RX 590.
Oh.
Build your own. It's like PC Specialist. This is fun. Do you
reckon
they'll do they got like a gunsmith simulator and a model simulator. They'll do a
tractor build.
Build your own tractor simulator. You've got to assemble your own tractor.
Yeah, maybe. There's a PC builder, isn't there? So
yeah, that's true.
They're mostly the same thing.
Okay, well this one, fucking hell, I haven't put any additions on it yet. What do you reckon?
160,000.
Bit more.
180,000.
Smidge more.
185,000.
It's £804,000.
What?
Without any additions.
My house is only 150.
That is
wow.
Beyond supercar levels of costs. £800,000. And you buy tracks, not tyres. Because they're
what I'm tracks mean. But
No, but I'm saying that when you're choosing your options, you're not saying front tyres, back tyres, whatever. It's just the tracks. And the tracks go from 10 to 25,000.
Which, for an £800,000 tractor, that's pretty cheap.
I'm sure it fucking is. Do you reckon they get some sort of discount, like bulk discount?
That's a lot of money, Dan.
That must be the price of a farm.
I mean, I don't know, because with farm,
the land,
you're paying for landers to farm you, so a lot of them will be in the mill.
I'm sure that you could build a tractor on this fucking website that costs as much as a farm.
Oh, definitely.
Just one vehicle. So that would be like you'd plough Hertfordshire with that.
I mean,
like you just that's thousands of acres worth of land that you'd have to use to justify it, even close to justify it. Yeah.
I mean, once you've done that, your job is then you'd pimp yourself out to farms.
Yeah, you would buy that and then rent it.
Yeah, you just work at other farms. using that thing that you've just bought because
But
you've got no
how?
money
But
left.
you wouldn't be able to, like, the size of it. You couldn't drive that to a farm. Like, no country lane could fit that. You'd have to drive through everybody's fields to get to the next farm.
Yeah, who's going to stop you?
I think you would, to be fair. When you, like, every time you hit a rock, you'd be like, "That's going to cost me 23 grand to repair that damage." Like, what's the insurance like on one of those? Like, this thing that's going to be constantly working in a field with dirt and stones and shit flying around.
Have to be road legal. They have to be road legal.
I'm not saying you couldn't drive it on the road. I'm saying
what I'm
I don't
saying
think you'd be able
is,
to fit it on a road.
What roads in England would support it? Because all road vehicles are actually road legal, but you can't. I mean, like the country lanes by me, you wouldn't be able to get it down them.
No, that's exactly what I was thinking of. Like, not with another car coming the other way, because that is a 2-lane road technically. This would not fit. It would barely fit in the road. But if someone's coming the other way, they're driving all the way back home.
That's what I mean. Because especially with these kind of lanes where they are certain points, you can get 2 cars down, but a lot of it you can only get 1. And you see one of them coming at you, you're not going to go, well, I'm not going till he fucking goes back. If we sit here long enough, he'll just drive over me.
Yeah, you'd have to reprogram the engine or something to get it to go into reverse. Yeah. Like, this is an absolute fucking beast.
Do you think it's got extenders? So can go like it.
For that kind of price, I'd expect it to hover.
That's what I mean, like an Inspector Gadget car. So it just goes and then drives on stilts.
It's fucking crazy. I'm pretty sure that, like, ex-military vehicles, like if you wanted to buy a tank, like a tank from the 70s or something like that, it would not be as expensive as that.
You can buy tanks for cheaper than that.
I'm pretty sure you can buy helicopters.
They obviously don't work, but
oh yeah, not functioning. No.
Some celebrity houses won't cost that much.
I mean, to be fair, mate, in London, barely a decent house would be that much.
And no, but I mean, in London, a flat would be that much. But
that's what I mean. It's like millions of pounds just to live within a W1 postcode.
You can get. I mean, obviously, Stafford isn't the luxury of the Midlands anyway. But you can get a house that I generally saw. That it was £300,000, and it was like 5 bed. It had an indoor swimming pool, an outdoor swimming pool, and a cinema room, and that's 300 grand.
Yeah, you'd be lucky if you get within an hour's drive of London for 300 grand.
This is what I mean. So, depending on where you are, you could buy a huge fucking ginormous house for 800 grand, but you could also buy a really small place for 800.
Or if you're smart, you buy one John Deere tractor
and live in it,
and then you pimp it out for 50 years to try and get your money back or something. I don't know how much it would cost to rent one of them for a week or for a season.
It'd be renting it. It would also be buying people to rent it, but also, how do you get it to them?
That's their problem.
Yeah, you've already paid now.
It's like I've had to spend everything I have and will ever earn on this tractor. I don't even have a driver's license. You want it, you come fucking get it, mate.
I mean, that's your mistake there.
Yeah, I'd never see it again, would I? I'd rent it out to one farm and that would be it.
Gone. How much did you make? 10 grand.
You'd be able to spot that from fucking space, I tell you.
It's fucking mental. Anyway, we're going to leave it there, Dan, because that's enough about tractors.
Indeed. I wanted to talk about RoboCop, and I've been talking about John Deere tractors for 20 minutes.
I think you made the right decision, because I'm yet to play RoboCop. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll save that then. Yeah. So make sure you do.
I'll make sure
for anyone who is interested, there is a demo of RoboCop Rogue City, which is now available on PC. I don't think it is on consoles.
The game itself is just not the demo.
Yes, I think that is just PC at the moment. But I played the demo and it was about an hour and a half long. So more than enough for you to get a taste of what the game's going to be like. And I'll tell you, Callum, I'm definitely going to be buying it. Excellent. And I've just purchased Star Trek Infinite as well, which is a brand new game. And the sort of like Stellaris, what's that other fucking... It's like a space-based diplomacy simulator kind of thing. There's like people did like mods of
Kerbal.
No, not Kerbal, you fucking absolute stupid cunt.
Is it the one we played?
Nah.
The Sphere thing?
No, that's Dyson Sphere program.
That was in space.
That's a great game. Well, it's on a planet more than anything, but I don't know what you
Still
mean.
space?
Honestly, I can't remember what I'm thinking of now, but there was a game that it's just sort of like it's cultures in space. It's like Civ to a degree, like in space, and someone made like a Starfleet Armada, Star Trek Armada 3 as like a mod for one of these games, and basically that's what this is, from what I understand. So I'm going to get that installed tonight, and I'll report back as to whether it was actually worth the money, which I bought through CD Keys, a sponsor of the show. So hello everyone.
It's all going along the bottom of the screen, Dan. I'm going to have to start including the CD Keys thing at the bottom.
Well, because considering how much we actually use it, we should probably promote it a little bit more.
Probably should, yeah.
But it was a great deal. I got it for $18.99 on there, which is considered it's a day one release.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Absolute bargain. And if you do decide to buy something through CD Keys, do it for our website and for our link, because it helps us out a little bit. And it's nice. Everyone likes to. Yeah. It's like a little virtual hug for us. And it proves you've got this far. Because we don't say it at the beginning.
No one ever gets this fucking far.
No one does. We struggle sometimes.
I don't listen to this. Are you kidding me?
No, I meant now.
Oh, yeah. Again, that's me not listening to you.
He's already gone. He's already thinking about loading up Star Trek, and he's gone.
Mate, it's sat on my fucking homepage right now on Steam. I'm just sort of like, if I click it, how much would that fuck up this connection? Can we just... So you better wrap this up, mate. That's it.
We're going. Everything's going along the bottom of the screen right now. You can check out everything at podcastversusplay.com, including more podcasts, more Let's Plays, more spoiler casts, and everything else. Dan, see you on the next one, Sunshine.
See you later.
And we'll see you. Goodbye!